These two objects date to about the 1870s or the 1880s, and each one would have been worn by a woman in mourning. The practice of public mourning dates back to the Middle Ages, when the elite classes had etiquette that they were expected to follow to publicly show their grief. The popularity of public mourning reached its peak in the Victorian era, when the Industrial Revolution meant that mourning clothes were more readily available to all classes, not just the elite. The Victorians really went to town with public mourning. Funerals would be as elaborate as money could buy, with large processions led by black horses adorned with black ostrich feathers pulling the hearse. People might have a photograph taken of their deceased loved one or wear jewellery containing their hair. These tokens are known as memento mori, a reminder of death. And of course, there was mourning dress. Depending on who you were mourning, you were expected to wear mourning dress for different lengths of time. When Queen Victoria's husband, Prince Albert, died in 1861, Queen Victoria stayed in mourning dress until she died in 1901. Normally, a widow was expected to stay in mourning for 2 years, wearing what was known as widow's weeds. Full mourning lasted for a year, when she would wear only dark clothes, usually incorporating a specific material known as mourning crepe, and a veil. She shouldn't wear jewellery or engage in any frivolous events. She then entered a period of second mourning, where she could stop wearing mourning crepe but keep the clothes dark. And finally, she entered the period of half mourning, where she could start adding colours such as purples and creams to her clothes. Even before the First World War in 1914, the length of time for mourning had decreased. The war meant that elaborate customs became fewer as more people died. By the 1920s, mourning was still encouraged, but with a much shorter length of time and to more individual taste. I chose these objects because I find mourning to be a fascinating subject. The act of public mourning and the display of public grief is something that I wonder why we don't still do that today. Surely that helps if people can see that you're all in black and you're mourning a loved one and they know to treat you with care. And having such elaborate customs such as the huge funerals and taking photographs, surely that this was a way to process your grief and to deal with it and to mourn and not be ashamed of that and not try to be British and quiet about it. Why don't we still do that today?